Getting your driver's license is a big deal. It represents independence, freedom, and responsibility.
Whether you've just passed your driver's test or you've been driving for a while, there are plenty of risks and distractions you'll face while in the driver's seat.
What's up, Suzanne?
How you doing, Lamorne?
Doing all right?
Good. You've learned to make a three-point turn, parallel park, and merge with traffic. You're feeling pretty comfortable behind the wheel, right? Well, before you get too comfortable, we want to remind you that driving is serious and potentially dangerous if you're not careful.
That's right. Now, we don't want to sound morbid, but car crashes are the leading causes of death amongst teens in the United States.
Now, obviously, none of us wants to get into a wreck of any kind, but if we are going to avoid car crashes, we need to know what causes them.
I guess for teen-related car crashes, it'd probably be just reckless driving,
speeding,
drinking and driving,
trying to multitask,
looking at another accident,
distractions in the back seat.
I know I've almost hit like 3 people trying to change the radio.
Those are some good answers, and a few of you were right on. The biggest cause of teen crashes is distracted driving. Coming up, we're going to share some information that will help you be sensible when faced with driving distractions.
But first, you're going to hear about the real dangers of driving distractions from teens with first-hand experience.
I know that my mom was always very concerned about any sort of driving distractions that I might have, and I unfortunately didn't listen to her that one time and paid the price for it. I was running late, so I was doing my makeup in the car, and I could see through the side of the visor that the light had changed, and I just instinctually just stepped on the gas, and then unfortunately I rear-ended the guy in front of me. I ended up hitting him hard enough that the airbag deployed.
The entire dashboard had to be replaced, and it was really expensive.
I was working a part-time job at a retail store, and I had to pay, the insurance premium that went up and the repair of the airbags. The accident taught me to be a bit more focused, not a bit, a lot more focused. It just goes to show you that just the slightest bit of distraction can really just do a lot of damage.
Suzette's behavior is more common than most of us realize. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration estimates that 1 in 4 car crashes is caused in part by distracted driving. Here's a few tips for some common distractions. Makeup. Suzette's story says it all. Don't put on makeup while driving. Do your primping before you get behind the wheel, or wait until you get where you're going.
Eating. If you're alone, wait until you get into your destination and then take a few minutes to eat. Now, if you're traveling with someone, take turns driving and eating.
Maps and directions. Passengers can also help you figure out directions or navigate while you drive. If you're alone, plan to figure out the route before you get in the car or read the directions while fully stopped.
And learn from Suzette's mishap. If you're reading directions while stopped at a light, make sure you actually look up at the cars in front of you before stepping on the gas.
Your behavior behind the wheel is a big factor in how well you manage distractions. So, we asked teens, what takes your attention off the road?
I sing along with the music.
putting on my makeup while driving. Talking on the cell phone is a big thing.
Trying to get something out of the back seat.
Searching for my cell phone when it rings.
I do mess with my radio sometimes. That is bad, but I need my music.
As you've just heard, there are lots of things competing for your attention when you're driving, and music is certainly one of the most common distractions for teens. As we'll see in this next story from Josh, paying more attention to the music than to what's happening on the road can have some serious consequences.
I lead a very busy life. I go to school, I have extracurricular activities, I hang out with my girlfriend and my friends, balance time there, as well as have a part-time job. I'm always on the go. I feel like I spend half of my life in the car. I love listening to music when I'm driving. I rock out in the car, singing along, up until recently when I actually had an accident because I was not paying attention. I was on my way to work and I was listening to music very loudly, and I pulled up to this four-way stop sign, and because I was so focused on the music, I completely didn't see this woman come barreling through the intersection. The car slammed into me and I did a complete 180. My head slammed into the door frame, and my hat and glasses flew out of the window, and I just came out very scared and completely dazed. When the paramedics came, they were very worried about possible head or neck injury or concussion. It was just very frightening. Luckily, I didn't have any serious injuries. The bills, however, were very serious. $2,400 in doctor and ambulance and hospital fees. The car was totaled, unfortunately, and that was really bad because I relied on it for work and to get to rehearsals. It took 9 months to get everything straightened out. I had to rely on my friends and my parents' car for transportation, and it was just a giant headache. All it takes is 1 split second for something to go wrong, not even with you, but somebody else, and you not to catch it. The biggest thing I've learned was to pay more attention to the road when I'm driving. I listen to music still, but definitely at a lower volume. My focus is on the road.
Josh's situation could have been avoided if he was paying more attention.
Take it from Josh, turning up the volume is not the only danger. Changing the radio station or CD while driving is another distraction you want to avoid. If you're alone, decide what radio station you want to listen to before you leave. Bring your favorite CD or make up a playlist before you get in the car.
Traveling with a friend, let them play DJ while you drive. They're getting a free ride. The least they could do is be a good DJ.
Plan ahead, wait, or ask a passenger to help. Simple advice, but not always easy to follow, especially when it comes to this next topic, wireless phones.
I think this is one of the most challenging driving distractions because both the driver's actions and the environment play a role.
You're so right. Teenagers had a lot to say about this topic.
I have a little headpiece and I just have my phone on automatic answer.
I try not to drive and dial at the same time.
I plan ahead when I'm driving. I make my phone calls before I pull off.
You just heard a lot of creative ideas, but there's really only one approach that we recommend to novice drivers. Do not use your cell phone while driving. Using a wireless phone while driving can be a serious distraction to new drivers. This next story from Brandy shows how a seemingly innocent reaction can quickly turn into a life-altering situation.
I think dating is fun because it gives you something to do, companionship, hang out with somebody. The first date I had with Andy was the night I had my accident. And I dropped him off at his house when I was driving home, and I heard my phone beeping. And so I started looking for it, and I could hear it underneath the seat. So I reached down, and next thing I know, I look up and I see some yellow signs, and I plowed through them, and then I hit a tree. When I got out of the car, I got out to look at the damage, but when I looked down, my ankle was twisted the wrong way, and there was blood everywhere. I just passed out right here.
My husband and I awoke to a call, and it was paramedics telling us that Brandy had been in a wreck, and she would be airlifted to the Regional Trauma Center. Brandy was unconscious, blood all over her face. They had her leg covered up, so we really didn't know how bad her leg was.
I was really lucky that the doctors didn't have to amputate my leg, and then instead they could take a muscle from my stomach and do a muscle graft onto my leg. I didn't get to see the car till after. I had already gotten out of the hospital a few months later, and when I saw it, it really kind of scared me. It was like, whoa, I was in that. It makes me think about how close I was to being a lot worse off than I am, close to dying or, losing my leg. My life changed a lot after the accident, especially at first. In the first few months, it was miserable. I couldn't do anything. But when the doctor said, you can't walk, you can't do it, I kind of almost think I did it just to kind of rebel against what they were telling me to do. The doctors had told me it could be years before I walked even normal. I did a lot of exercises with my physical therapist that made my legs stronger, went through a lot of pain. I was definitely determined to walk. I have been driving again, and it's scary, and I'm always thinking, and I'm always turning down the radio if someone turns it up, and if a cell phone rings, I just yell answer it, or if no one's there, I don't answer it at all.
Yeah, Brandy's driving right now. Can she call you back?
I can't think of anything but what I'm doing anymore. I feel like my experience changed my idea of what driving distractions are and how important they are. When I look down at my leg, it's my motivation. I do not want another one of these. And I would tell other people to just pay attention to what you're doing. And don't think that, a few seconds of looking down is that, that's not a big deal, because it changed everything for me. I could have avoided it all by not reaching for my phone and just waiting till I got home.
Brandy's accident shows why new drivers should steer clear of using cell phones while behind the wheel. It's not worth the risk.
Not only can reaching for the cell phone be a distraction when you're behind the wheel, but some states prohibit the use of cell phones while driving during the graduated licensing period. Get to know the laws in your city and state.
If you're in the driver's seat, never use your phone to take pictures, record video, text message, or watch TV. Leave those activities to the passengers. If you need to make or take a call, wait until your trip is complete and your car is safely stopped.
And as you know from Brandy's story, if you are busy driving, let voicemail or a passenger take the call.
Of course, a cell phone is a great tool to have in an emergency, and it's okay to make a 911 call while driving if it's really an emergency. That leads into our final topic, the environment around you. Things like billboards, fast food signs, people in other cars or on the sidewalk, and even passengers can be distracting. We asked teens to tell us, how have your passengers distracted you while driving?
My brother will come up behind me and poke me.
It's hard for me driving in the car with my friends.
Talking, yelling, laughing, anything can be a distraction.
Just shouting out the window.
Look at that girl.
It's clear that other people can be a big distraction. Some states even limit the number of passengers a new driver can have in their car during their graduated license period.
If that law doesn't apply in your state, you may still want to be cautious about your number of passengers. Limit the number of passengers in your car. If you have 5 or 6 passengers piled into your car, it's like multiplying your distractions.
Avoid emotional conversations while driving. Having an emotional conversation while driving is just plain dangerous.
Children are also potential distractions, so if you have a baby or a toddler with you, make sure they're in a car seat and give them a book or a toy to keep them entertained.
And if you're driving with a pet, use a kennel carrier and make sure it's secure in the car.
Finally, the passenger's behavior is just as important as the driver's behavior. As a passenger, be considerate.
Do you want me to get that for you?
Yeah, if you don't mind, that would be great.
Don't distract the driver. Your life could depend on it.
Hello?
Nobody ever thinks they're going to cause an accident and hurt others, but the dangers are real. Now is the time to pay attention or pay the price.
As a driver, it's your responsibility to make good decisions that keep you and everyone around you safe. So before you get behind the wheel, think about these tips and the real experiences from the teens in this video.
Distracted driving is preventable. Stay focused, be responsible, and be sensible.